Hello again. We are covering 7.3, multiplying binomials and trinomials. And this is where they talk about the area or array model that I referred to in the last video. But the area model is in the pre-teach videos. Okay. A common way to remember this is by doing FOIL, okay, which is just a fancy way of talking about using the distributive property when you multiply. Okay, it's you take what's the first term and you multiply it to the everything in the second parentheses, the second term in the first parentheses, and multiply it to everything in the second parentheses. So you do the first outer, inner, and the last. So here we go. So we're going to multiply with the two different methods. I'm going to do the area method here again, which is where we set up the rectangle. So we have x and then plus 2 along the side, and then we have x and then plus 4 here. And now we multiply. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2, and those are both positives, is 8. I think about this as this is a big plus, so therefore I am adding everything together. Remember, you want to combine your like terms as you go. So we end up with a final answer, and we write it in standard form: x squared plus 6x plus 8. And there's your answer in correct simplified standard form. So remember, answers must be in correct standard form. And now using the FOIL or the distributive property. That means I'm doing 2x times x which means I'm actually going to do 2x times the outer, which this is the outer, and then I'm plus 2x times the inner, which is x. This is supposed to be times 5. It really doesn't matter just as what order, just as long as you make sure you multiply the first to both on the inside, both on this side of the parentheses, and then you do it for the next. So we have plus 1 times x plus 1 times, oh, that's a -5. I didn't pay attention to that over here. Gotta pay attention to those signs. That's a -5 right there. And now we simplify. So we have -10x plus 2x squared plus x minus 5. And now we combine our like terms. Which is going to be, and we write it in correct standard form, 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. And there's our final answer. Now, technically, guys, you can go straight from this step to this step. I was just showing this so you understand what's happening. All right, next example. We're going to jump down to number 4. Okay. So when I'm multiplying here, I'm doing x times x, which gives me x squared, x times -2, so that's -2x. 2 times x gives me a positive 2x. 2 times -2 is a -4. Now, what we're going to notice here is when I go to combine my like terms, they're the same thing, but one's positive and one's negative, which means that this equals 0. So I'm going to technically have x squared plus 0 minus 4, but I don't write the plus 0. I don't need it. My final answer is x squared minus 4. This is in correct standard form. Okay, jumping right ahead. Next example. Moving on to number 15. This is different in the fact that it says x plus 4 squared. That means that this is the same as x plus 4 times x plus 4. You can choose whether you want to do the rectangle, the area method, or do the distributive property. It is your choice, whatever your brain functions best with. So I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to have, here, excuse me, distribute the x, so therefore I have x times x, which gives me x squared, x times 4, so that gives me 4x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. And now we combine like terms. We always have to simplify. And I end up with x squared plus 8x plus 16 as my final answer in correct standard form. Okay, and here is where I find the area model is most effective, is when we're having to do problems where it's a binomial times a trinomial. I just find it easier to make sure I keep everything in track. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and set up my rectangle here. So we have x and then plus 4. And I have 3 terms, so therefore I have 3 columns. So I have x squared, 3x, and -6. And now I multiply. X squared times x, that's going to give me x to the third. 3x times x gives me 3x squared. -6 times x gives me -6x. X squared times 4 gives me 4x squared. 3x times 4 gives me 12x. -6 times 4 gives me a -24. What's nice about this is if you notice, it automatically aligns where you have these pluses. It puts your like terms together. And you are adding everything together because it makes those nice pluses. So here we go. Let's write our standard form. So we have x to the third plus 7x squared plus 6x, because 12x minus 6x is 6x minus 24. And there is my final answer in correct standard form. Excuse the blinking. That bulb is going to cause us to have a seizure here. Let's see if we can make it through the rest of the video. One last problem. All right, for number 23, we want to find the shaded region. So that means I'm going to be doing the big minus the small, or the out minus the inside. Either one is the way you can think about it, okay? But we've got to remember to find the area, we do length times width. So that means I'm going to be doing 2x plus 7 times 9x minus 2 minus, and notice I'm putting all of this in brackets because I know I have to do all of this first before I can do any subtraction. And then I have 3x times x plus 12. All kinds of messed up there. And close brackets. All right, so now we distribute. I can do both sets of distributing at the same time. So I have 18x squared, because 2x times 9x is 18x squared. Then I'm doing 2x times -2, so that's a negative 4x. 7 times 9x, that's 63x. 7 times -2 is a negative 14. Minus, then I'm going to distribute here. And that gives me 3x squared. 3x times 12 is plus 36x. And we have our bracket. And now we have to simplify the like terms here. I'm sorry about that light, guys. So we have, and at the same time, as I combine these, I can go through and distribute this negative in here and take everything out of the brackets. So I have 18x squared plus 59x minus 14 minus 3x squared minus 36x. And now we combine like terms again. Which is the 18x squared and the negative 3x squared. So that's going to give me 15x squared. And then I have the 59x and the negative 36x. And that's going to give me a positive 23x minus 14. And there's my final answer and our last example. If you have questions, make sure that you ask and pause and repeat as needed. Finish the notes and the classwork homework. Have a great day.